Horns up and welcome to Headbanger's Kitchen Keto 101, the series where I take you by the hand and step by step and help you on your keto journey. And today's episode is the question I get asked so many times in so many different forms. What foods can I eat on the keto diet? And today I'm going to sort of demystify the entire thing. I'm going to tell you exactly what you can and cannot eat on the keto diet. So how do you figure out what you can and cannot eat on the keto diet? Well, the first thing I have to tell you is that Google is your best friend. So to find out exactly what you can eat on the keto diet, all you need to do is go to Google and type in keto food list. That is it. Yeah, Google itself will show you a list of foods, and I will recommend these two websites that you should check out. One is ruled.me, which I will open in a new tab, whoops, I will search for keto food list, keto food list. And the second website is the Keto Diet app. Now on both these websites you will find a nice big interesting article on what you can and cannot eat. Everything is broken down in a very easy to understand way, and all the foods are listed along with their nutrition info and the important information that you will need. So this is rule.me and this is the Keto Diet app. So it's literally that easy. Both these websites will be an invaluable resource to you to help you figure out what you can and cannot eat on the keto diet. I could have made this video and pretty much read out what they have written and wasted maybe 20 minutes of everybody's time, but instead there are a couple of other things I want to talk about regarding what you can and cannot eat on the keto diet. Now, in my books there are two kinds of people in this world. One kind that eats to live, and one that lives to eat. Now if you are just eating to live, then for you food is not a big important part of your life. You can pretty much go through keto eating the very basic meat, vegetables and fats, olive oils, butters, all that, and just make it sort of hit the ratios that you require for keto. 75% of calories from fats, 20% from protein and 5% from carbs, and that's it. You are the kind of person that does not need a tutorial on what you can and cannot eat in keto, because you can really just stick to the basics and be good. But if you are like me, someone who lives to eat, then food is an important part. You want different flavors, textures, you want to create different kinds of food. You don't want to be stuck eating just the very basics on keto. And that is where we come down to another two kind of people: those that count their macros and those that don't. Now if you are not going to count your macros, then I think you need to be rather strict on what you eat on the keto diet. And if you are someone who counts their macros, you can definitely be a little more lax about it. Now in my books, the quality of food that you are eating is very important. And in general, if you look at the articles that I have referred in this video, you will read up as well that it is important that you get good quality food. So when you are eating fats, you want good quality fats. When you're eating meat, you want good kind of meat. You want good cheese. You don't want, and when I say good, I don't necessarily mean you have to go and find a grass-fed cow or a free-range chicken or something, but you want quality products. You want stuff that is not processed. If I want to be a little more, not processed. So you don't want to buy cheese that is made from things other than, well, milk. You don't want margarine that's not made from actual like milk, So those are the things I refer to when I'm talking about quality food. I know for a lot of people money is a big thing, because not everyone can afford grass-fed beef or freshly grown asparagus from some fancy place. But quality foods, whole foods are very important. Now on the keto diet, there are a lot of food items that are very controversial, that some people will say you can eat, some people will say you can't eat. And as I mentioned a little earlier, it's about what kind of a eater you are. Are you counting your macros? Are you not counting your macros? So for example, one of the things I very often see in my video comments, and especially by Indian people, is that you cannot eat onion and tomato on keto. And this is because most of them are given like written down diets by dietitians where they are not counting macros and they need to be kept on a leash. So let's Google it. What is the nutrition info of an onion? Onion nutrition info. This is how you find information. So if you look at an onion, a normal white onion has 9 grams of carbs per 100 grams and it has 1.7 grams of dietary fiber. So you are looking at about 7 grams of carbohydrates from 100 grams of onions. Now take that 7 grams, if you are making a chicken curry recipe with all 100 grams of onion and you're dividing it into 4 portions, that's about 2 grams of net carbs per portion. So when you count your macros, it's easy to include this. But if you're not counting macros, and especially in Indian households when they cook, they add a lot of onion, a lot of tomato, so all the carbs can add up. So that's why maybe a dietitian will tell you, if you're an Indian, don't eat onion and tomato on keto because of the lifestyle. But if you're making your own food, if you're counting your macros, you can use an onion, you can use a tomato. And when you're confused about foods, Google is your best friend. So for example, many people are confused about the kind of nuts you can eat on keto. Some people say peanuts you can eat, you can't eat. Some people say cashews you can eat, you can't eat. So let's look it up. Let's look up the nutrition info of a cashew nut. So cashew nutrition. And this is exactly how you find out how to do things. Now if you look at it, a cashew has 30 grams of carbs per 100 grams. Now that is a lot of carbs. That should be a red light to you. Of course, if you are counting your macros, if you are planning to use 20 grams of cashew paste in a recipe that's going to feed 8 people, yeah, you can squeeze it in. But otherwise you would look at it and go, okay, that's way too many carbs for 100 grams. Even if I ate 20 grams, which is 1/5, so you're still looking at 1/5, it's about 6 grams of carbs, and only 3.3 grams of fiber. In that 30 grams is fiber. So this is sort of the way you need to approach food, you know. I know it's very easy to say, okay, I don't want to do this googling, I don't want to research, I would rather just have a list. But the thing is, there's so much food in the world and it's very hard to just make like one big giant list and you keep referring to it. No, it's crazy. So if you're ever in doubt, this is the best way to do it. For example, peanuts are often sort of controversial, and peanuts, by the way, are not a nut, they are a legume. But peanut nutrition, let's go for peanut nutrition. Now peanuts, if you look here, you will see only 16 grams of carbohydrates, from which 9 is dietary fiber. So 100 grams of peanuts has only 7 grams of carbs. Now compare that to a cashew, you can see the difference. You can see that if you eat a peanut, it's not really going to kill you. You know, if you eat 20 grams of peanuts in a day, it's not going to be a problem. So it's very important to Google and to research and to figure out what you can and cannot eat. Hopefully this has helped you. You'll be able to now figure out these answers on your own. So you don't need to message me every time you find a new vegetable and you want to know what to eat. Now another super important thing, and this is, I cannot stress this enough, is learn to read nutritional labels on products. So for example, here I have some peanut butter, which if I look at the ingredients, it says roasted peanuts 100%. That's a good product. There's nothing but peanuts in this. Okay, it says here no hydrogenated oils, no added sugar, etc, etc. You know, it says here the serving size of 32 grams has 5 grams of carbs, from which 2 grams are fiber. So 3 grams of carbs per 32 grams of peanut butter. That's about 2 tablespoons. So it's very important to read the labels, read the information at the back, and then decide, yes, you can have this. This is not a problem. But another thing, so for example, a mayo jar. Now, if you're counting macros, life is always different. If you're not counting macros, life is different. So for example, if you read here, it says soya bean oil. That's the first red flag. Now, soya bean oil is not a good fat. We do not want to be having soya bean oil on the keto diet. For example, same with rapeseed oil and a whole bunch of others. You will read it on the websites that I have linked you to. But if, for example, if your consumption of mayo is 1 or 2 tablespoons at best in an entire week, you know, yeah, a little bit of soya bean oil will not kill you. But if you're going to be eating mayonnaise every alternate day, you know, then I would say skip this, because you're having a large quantity of something that's not good. You know, if you're on the go, if you need once in a while a quick spoon of mayo, this may make sense. Now, if you read again, this does have sugar, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it does. But if you read the carbohydrates, it says it has 0 carbs per serving, because obviously it has got such a minimal amount of carbs from that sugar in the giant jar that one serving of whatever 1 tablespoon has less than 1%, like less than 1 gram of carbs. So things like this, you have to make a personal decision. Do I want this in my life? Am I going to be consuming a lot of this? And this will go for any sort of canned item or any kind of bottled sauce and things like that. So learn to read the nutritional labels. A lot of things have hidden ingredients, and honestly, if there are too many things in a product that you can't identify, in my books, that's you need to chill out, buddy, or you need to go and Google those things and find out what they are. So very important, learn to read the nutritional labels, learn to read the ingredients on whatever products you're buying, and take a call according to what you think works best for you. Alright, so that pretty much covers all the aspects I wanted to discuss with you. What I'd like to leave you with is a few pointers. Maybe I can talk about each of the categories and give you my personal choice of food items, what I think is best to eat. So when it comes to fats, I prefer to stick to ghee, butter, coconut oil and olive oil, and bacon fat. Because I live in India, we don't get lard, and if I'm cooking duck and I have duck fat, great. I don't get goose fat, so that's what I like to use. I don't generally get avocado oil and other nut oils because they're really expensive to start with, and yeah, it's really expensive to start with. So that's what I use for cooking my food most of the time. When it comes to protein, I pretty much am willing to eat every single animal on the planet. What you want to avoid is basically processed meats. So you need to be careful when you're buying your bacon. First of all, I know everyone's like keto and bacon are like a match made in heaven type thing, but that's not the case. A lot of bacon is flavored, it may have sugars, so read the labels, make a choice. But otherwise, all your seafood, all your meats, your offal, everything is good to go. And I think if you can stomach offal, it's very good to add that to your diet. Liver, heart, kidney, whatever you get in your local butcher shop. Fruits and veggies. So the general rule of thumb on keto is green leafy vegetables. Anything that has color on it, you should research and check how many carbs it has, because like you can eat red and yellow bell peppers, you can eat tomato, you probably can even eat a little bit of carrot and be okay. So it really boils down to your life choices, and you got to make the decision. Look, if you're counting macros, you can have, 20 grams of carrots with 20 grams of peas with 20 grams of cauliflower, no problem. But if you're just eating by intuition, then you might want to just avoid things that in excess can possibly not really work out for you. And vegetables are very controversial. If you see Dr. Berg's video, he says vegetable carbs are good carbs, you can eat as much as you want. Somebody else will tell you vegetables are bad for you. The carnivore guys will say you don't need fiber in your life. So there are way too many opinions on this. I think you need to take a call, and you can be the decision maker for your life. Then fruits. Fruits, I only say 3 fruits are allowed on keto: strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. Or was it blackberries? The round ones. We don't get berries in India, so I'm not very familiar. But the round black ones, not the ones that look like raspberries. No, not the mulberries. These 3 are it. That's all your keto fruit should be. There's no other fruit that you should be eating on keto. Again, like I said, if you're counting your macros and you can fit it in, you can probably squeeze in half a kiwi or an apple and compromise somewhere else. But in my books, these 3, they do the job and they give you that freshness that you're longing for from fruits. Nuts and seeds, you can pretty much eat most of them. I've talked enough, including peanuts, cashews. You guys know what to do. Dairy is another sort of point of debate. Most dairy is absolutely fine, milk is not. All the high fat dairy is okay. However, for a lot of people, dairy can not work well with them. You know, dairy doesn't do good for people. Sometimes if you are trying to lose weight on keto and you have a stall, then dairy is often the reason for you stalling. A lot of people cut out dairy and start losing weight again. So that's something you got to sort of experiment with. Finally, sweeteners. I stick to stevia, liquid stevia for regular use, and once in a while I will use erythritol. If you guys follow Keto Connect, they have done an extensive video on how each sweetener, artificial sweetener, reacts with your blood glucose, or how it impacts your blood glucose level. So watch their video and you make your own decisions when it comes to sweeteners. But my personal preference is stevia, the liquid form, and erythritol once in a while for making a dessert. Anyway guys, I've jibber jabbered for long enough. If you have any questions and you're unable to find the answers on Google, leave them below in the comments. I will do a keto FAQ or a keto Q&A and I will answer all those questions in that. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series. I hope I covered everything. This was a pretty long video. I don't know how long it is. I'll try and edit it and keep it short. But anyway, enough jibber jabber. I will see you on the next episode of Headbanger's Kitchen. Cheers and keep ketoing.